Hi, and welcome back to Pandemic Practicums, videos that are designed to help us support ourselves and support other people as we go through this crisis together. If this is your first time here, then welcome to you. My name's Diane Strickland, and I'm a community and workplace traumatologist, a compassion fatigue therapist, critical incident responder, and I've been ordained for 32 years. And I'm really happy to be able to create these videos for you. Today we're going to look at ways to manage some of the stress or the acute stress symptoms that we might be having using really simple coping tools. Now, if you are under the care of a medical professional or a mental health professional for mental health issues, then please make sure you check with those people before you do anything different from your routine or take up any of these tools on your own. Please make sure they're good for you too. The truth is we're all specialists at getting through our life's challenges. We find the most effective path by trial and error. We gather assumptions along the way and personal strategies that work best for us. We may be very good at it when we get older in life. Now, I'm not going to talk about the more obviously self-destructive or even abusive strategies that some people employ when they are stressed. That's another whole topic. Today, I'm just talking about some really simple and effective tools you can use, and I'm also talking first about the cognitive tools that we have been using thus far in our lives, because most of us really prefer to think our way through things and think our way out of things. And I'm describing myself there. But most of the time in a critical incident or a traumatic event like the one we're in, our alarm system does not really care about our very best cognitive strategies. And that's because our alarm system is not primarily controlled by our cognitive brain. And sometimes it'll just bypass that entirely. So we will not be able to think our way out of our symptoms or argue ourselves out of them either. And we'll certainly give that a really good try first. Our cognitive brain can help us, however, by understanding this fact that our limbic system and our amygdala, the parts of our brains that really have the alarm systems in them, are not primarily controlled by our thinking. So when we get that straight in our cognitive brain, we can maybe lower our resistance to different strategies than we have used before. Strategies that will help us dial down the alarms so that we recognize ourselves again, and others do too, and we can continue to participate effectively in life. The goal of coping tools is to speak as directly to our alarm systems as we can. So the approach here is that we're talking directly to our limbic system where all of our emotional dynamics are centered, and where our amygdala, where our 12 operating systems of the body are controlled. So the focus of the coping tools is to work with emotional energy and physical or body things in order to speak to those alarm systems. So this is not about trying to change who you are, by the way, because who you are is just fine. It's about getting some results and relieving symptoms in an exceptional situation that you may never have been anything like this before. And so this is the first time your tools haven't done what you hoped they would do. So what are we going to do? Well, I invite people to run experiments. This is my unique patented approach. That's what I do in my own life. That method, it comforts my cognitive anxieties that I'm working a little bit about out of my normal comfort zone, and I hope that will help you too. It contains the things so you have a chance to sort of look at what you did and how it actually did work for you, or if it didn't work for you. So we're just going to do experiments and collect the research data. Now, in keeping with what I said on my second video, where I suggested you should really only have three things on your to-do list at any time, We're only going to look at 3 tools today. And there are many, many more. But I'm going to give you the 3 that I think are really good building blocks for all the others. So the first tool, we're going to be looking at a lot of emotional energy. And it is to make an appointment with yourself every single day for emotional attention, to self-awareness, and to offer yourself kindness as you look at what your feelings really are at that time. You may have already found that your emotional life is less predictable than before, and you may have been ambushed by tears at the bank or the drugstore, or just flying off the handle in your own kitchen or on the phone, and it all gets very old very fast. The rest of the time, you may even be feeling kind of numb. So don't try to figure out the why of that. That again is going down the cognitive rabbit hole. That's what we need to avoid. What I'm asking you to do is to make an appointment with yourself with the goal that you're going to be as kind and attentive to yourself as you are to everyone else in your life. So here's where it goes. Find a time where you can be alone and a place. Now, for a lot of my clients, that is very difficult, and so I'm going to give you some suggestions. They go into the bathroom and they lock the door. They sit in the car in the garage, or they go into their walk-in closet and sit on the floor. Yes, the only way to tell your alarm system that you have heard the alarm and are on it is to spend time noticing, naming, and feeling the many kinds of emotional dynamics that your poor self is trying to manage in this difficult time. So, for example, are you afraid? Do you have a lot of fear about your children, your loved ones, clients, parishioners, patients, students, yourself, your neighbors? Are you grieving? Do you have deep sadness about all the things that you miss and that used to be mainstays in your life? And how many people have lost a loved one here? Are you angry because the person you live with, maybe your life partner, is really checking out in the parental role and you're having to take it all on? Or are you actually kind of secretly relieved that the world has just stopped for a while so that you can catch up? Notice, name, and feel. Now, if it helps, what I do is to place a hand on my stomach, which you can't see me doing, but I'm doing it, or a hand on my heart, and then say, what do I feel? What do I feel? And when you touch yourself like that, do it with the same loving intention that you offer someone else when you put your hand on their back or on their arm. Give yourself that same kind of physical kindness and compassion. Seek to know the feelings that you're trying so hard to manage every day. Feelings are very difficult to manage when we refuse to acknowledge that they're there and we don't know exactly how to name them. I say 20 minutes is fine. And to close the time that you've spent with yourself, name the feelings that you have recognized and own the self-awareness that you have them. And then say something encouraging, just the same way you would say it to someone else who's just told you that they're afraid or they're angry or they're just terribly sad. It doesn't have to be a brilliant statement, just something really simple like, I have deep feelings because I care about the world and I care about people and I care about myself. That's why these feelings are there. Or things are going to get better. I will not always be so emotionally exhausted, but it's all going to take time and I'll get there. Or I can be kind to myself because look at everything I'm feeling right now. and I'm feeling it deeply. I need to be kind to myself. And when you're done, you give yourself a pat or even a hug, which is a physical thing, as a closure for that time. Just the way you would do for someone else if they told you something hard. You'd give them a hug or a little pat at the end. So that's the first tool. Make an appointment with yourself every day to look at what your feelings are and how deeply they are inside you. The second thing is intentional or mindful breathing. Now, you may have heard of this already. You may already be doing it. The science behind working with your breath shows that your breath holds the shortest distance to your central nervous system, not our cognitive brain, our breath. That's how we want to communicate in the most efficient way with our central nervous system. It's fastest, it's efficient, it's free, portable, it works in panic, it works when you're calm. It's a very versatile tool. Now, there are lots of versions of this that you can look at on YouTube. There are apps to help you do this that you can put on your phone. Just find one and start doing it. Try them out. Or use the one that I'm going to suggest, which is very simple. You inhale through your nose to the count of 5, pause. Then you exhale through your mouth to the count of 7, pause. And you repeat. So it looks a little like this. And I usually close my eyes when I do it. So it just looks like this. And when I do 5 of those, I call that a cycle. And I do a cycle before and after every appointment I have, before and after a video that I make here. When I just feel my anxiety increasing, I will do it, or I have to make a difficult phone call, I will do it. When I used to wake up in panic at night, which mercifully I don't anymore, but I would do it. And that's the key thing is don't think, breathe. That's your mantra on this one is don't think, breathe. Don't try and figure out why you're feeling so panicked or any of those feelings. Don't think, breathe, and just go right into a cycle. It becomes a really healthy automatic reflex, just as healthy as the one you developed when you learned how to think your way out of most of the problems you were facing. But don't think, breathe first. It does tell your body that you hear the alarm that may have been raising your heart rate, making you feel nauseous, or giving you sweaty palms, whatever. You are manifesting a physical counter that reduces the heart rate, harnesses calm, so that the alarm will dial down. So start with one cycle, and if you have to do more than one, there's nothing wrong with that, because you don't have to pay more to do more. That's the second tool, intention or mindfulness breathing. And the third tool is to rest once or twice a day. This is going to be more of a long-term crisis that we're in, and people are already exhausted. They're exhausted because they took a lot of energy to how to figure out how they were going to live with all of the restrictions and changes that were a part of our isolation processes and all the other things that were happening. They're getting tired even though they're getting less done than they want to, and they seem to be taking longer to get everything done. And other people often just keep going and they don't stop when they should stop. They don't know how to stop themselves. So what happens is we have an emotional, mental, spiritual, social, and physical exhaustion that comes upon us. Now, when I talk about taking a rest once or twice a day, I am not a napper. I can't nap. I don't fall asleep. Well, actually, I have fallen asleep a couple of times since I started to do this. But that's not my natural place to go. But I have learned that I must lie down for 15 to 20 minutes. I use the breathing technique to slow down my head a little because my head never wants to shut off. But I don't try to stop thinking because that's too much work. I just lie down. I stay still. It's a body thing. Now, some people have skills at meditative practices or routines they already have, and that may help them with this immediately. But you can dial down emotional and physical alarms just by lying down and resting your body. And I may say to my brain, "No, I know that you want to keep going, brain, but it doesn't matter because I'm not leaving this couch or this bed for 15 minutes. So get used to it." And again, talking and listening is a physical thing. You're saying specifically talking to your alarm system. I'm tired. I'm giving myself what I know I need so that you will dial down a bit. I find these, at first I thought, oh, this 15 minutes is just taking forever. And then what I found was 15 minutes would fly by. And I did feel different afterwards. It's very restorative. It interrupts this accumulation of this constant emergency dynamic that has our adrenaline up high and has them thinking we must do something all the time. And it helps us to pace ourselves, because living through this and recovering from this is in fact a marathon, not a sprint. And the people who know how to be kind to themselves, like in the first tool, who know how to breathe their way through stress, which is the second tool, and how to rest, are going to be the long haul people. That's who you want to be. That's who we need to help us get through this. This is a way that we can commit to this time by trying tools that may not be the ones we usually use. So your experiment is to pick one of these tools and try it for 5 days. And pay attention to the kinds of resistance that you may want to use to set that tool aside. And before you try the tool, take your temperature as being one of more or less calm, more or less agitated, or more or less freaking out. And then after you do the tool, take that again. Are you more or less calm? Are you more or less agitated? Are you more or less freaking out? So that's sort of your sort of broad continuum there, but you'll fit in there somewhere. And it's to pay attention to see if you're getting any results that are helping you. And it may take some time. That's why I say try it for 5 days, because it may take you time to understand how this can help you and to start believing in it. If you do get results quickly, still keep doing it for 5 days because it's a coping tool. That's the purpose of it. But you might want to add another tool and run an experiment with that. And so yes, the idea is that you're going to try all the tools, but at least one of them in 5 days. At least one of them. People will discover they have different favorites. That's just fine. And often the tools, when I look back, the tools that I thought were the stupidest tools turned out to be the ones that helped me the most. It's a very humbling thing to work with tools that you've never used before. The point is to acquire new tools so that you have what you need, you feel less powerless in the situation that you haven't been in before probably, and where there is real danger still. And we don't know if we're going to still catch this virus and what that might do, or that someone we know will catch it. So we want to learn now how to be in this and stay grounded and stay so that the best part of ourselves can be offered to the world and to the people who are immediately around us. Most of us need new tools for what is happening. Run your experiments. That's probably enough for today. Always, I invite you to comment below, let me know what's going on. I'm sorry to report that my email that I was I thought I had set up perfectly. It wasn't working, so it's not up there today the way it has been. And to let you know that I worked long and hard to try to fix it and managed at the same time to lock myself out of Microsoft completely, which was a great Corona brain moment. If you haven't watched the second video, you'll know, you'll want to go back and learn what that means. Yes, we are all vulnerable to these things, including me. So I don't have an email right now to put there, but do like and subscribe. I certainly have at least one or two of these in me to do. And thank you so much for being open to receive what I'm really glad to share with you. And thank you also for all the work you are doing wherever you are to be in this world and to heal it and sustain it as we go through it together. Thank you for all the love that is passing between you and others that also heals and sustains us as a community. And may you continue to be strengthened in courage and clarity for whatever work is still yours to do. So until next time, take care of yourself.